The media landscape is abuzz with the firing of Tucker Carlson, and there are many people who are speculating as to why he was unceremoniously terminated. Some people are pointing to text messages revealed by a lawsuit that show Carlson saying disparaging things about his bosses, allegedly. Other folks are pointing to Rupert Murdoch's perhaps desire to spurn his ex-lover, who's a big fan of Carlson, by firing him. Others are pointing to Murdoch's supposed, this is all speculation, supposed disdain for prayer talk, which Carlson did a lot of in his Heritage Foundation speech on the Friday before he was fired on the Monday. There are a lot of different reasons. Others are saying that Carlson was fired for pushing the orthodoxy a little bit too far, pushing the envelope, so to speak, on issues like January 6th and talking about things like John F. Kennedy's assassination, things that are generally not spoken about outside of the official narrative in the corporate media and in media in general. But also, others are saying that Tucker Carlson's substantive critiques of his news executive might have played a role in him getting fired as well, him not being a team player, so to speak. All of these speculations do not matter. Here is what truly matters when we try to get to the brass tacks of this very important issue. What matters is that in an era of corporate manufactured consent, Tucker Carlson was someone who did not toe the line people in his position are expected to toe. And that iconoclasm ultimately led to his downfall at Fox News. Now, I believe Carlson has a very beautiful career in front of him. His video that he released in response to all of this, where he talks very much about the generalities of being truthful and, also providing value to people through that honesty, that video got millions upon millions of views that was put on Twitter, more millions than watch him on Fox News or watched him on Fox News prime time. So in a way, he has already managed to outgrow his position at Fox News. Now, my friends, for any flourishing society, a variety of perspectives are needed. And when I say that we live in an era of manufactured consent, I mean we live in an era where the corporate press, typically in coordination with the government or with other institutions in society that align with their general idea, decide to create a realm of acceptability where a particular opinion is held to be true, and that particular opinion is then reinforced by particular segments and particular information put out by the corporate press. They are manufacturing consent by giving you specific bits of information and then feeding that to you as if it's the truth, to the exclusion of other perspectives. Now, this represents the principle of restricting ideas, limited ideas. Limited ideas, my friends, are very harmful to any society that wishes to grow and wishes to understand why truth is the truth, that wishes to understand how to be moral, how to behave morally, and understand some of the most important issues of our day. Indeed, a man can only work with the concepts he has at his disposal. You would not expect a 5-year-old to be able to drive a car because that's not a concept readily available to him, and that concept does not coordinate and correspond with his current stage of development. Well, how can you expect people to understand the nuances of issues like the Ukraine war, like the jailing of Julian Assange, both issues which Carlson was actually quite outspoken of in favor of the right position, which meaning freeing Assange and not donating money to Ukraine? How do you expect Americans to understand the complexities of those issues if they exist in an environment where the information is restricted from them? You can't. We need to have a variety of perspectives, even if those perspectives are deemed as misinformation or disinformation. I have an entire thesis video on disinformation, its origins, and I cover the fact that it is actually a Soviet word cooked up 50 years ago by the Soviets to slander the West, which I encourage all of you to look into. The video will be in the description down below. It is my most important video, and it will give you the tools to arm you against disinformation, or at least against the term disinformation in a very substantive way. Carlson represents an interesting phenomenon in society that I call the intellectual triggermen. These are individuals who bring certain ideas to the forefront of our imaginations and our minds, and regardless of the accuracy of these ideas serve a role in bringing forth the varied perspectives required for the moral and intellectual growth of any given society, especially a professed free society, which America has prided itself on being ever since its inception over 270 plus years ago. Now, what these triggermen do, they say things that are provocative, but that are also uncommon. And these uncommon things, again, whether they're true or not, they provoke a certain kind of thought within the audience they're talking to. And that thought can then lead to discussions that actually uncover things that are true or that are substantial to the functioning of any given society. Triggermen essentially shed light on ideas that may not get light shed on them oftentimes. Carlson did this once again by bucking the orthodoxy in regards to very important and prominent issues such as the Ukraine war, such as Julian Assange, and most importantly, January 6th. I'll give you guys January 6th for an example. January 6th for a very long time was held to be this insurrection, this attack on democracy, assault on democracy, democracy dies in darkness. It was hidden beneath all of these different manufactured consent concepts, which when you actually look at them, fall apart under scrutiny, and this was happening on the basis it was held to be true. But now we know that there is actually more to the J6 story than they initially told us. We now know that Jacob Chansley was not an insurrectionist who was attacking democracy, but rather just a very passionate political activist who happened to have the ire of those who seek to present J6 in a manner that conformed with manufactured consent. We now know that there were plenty of people, as we knew before, if anyone actually had read the records of those being charged, the over 1,000 charged, there were many folks who simply walked around and were hit on trespassing charge, but by proximity and association, they were also deemed insurrectionists, and Carlson, on the biggest perch in primetime TV, changed the narrative, reset the narrative, so to speak, in a manner that gives much nuance to an event that was used by bad actors to push false lies. In order to understand what happened to Carlson, you must understand his role as an intellectual triggerman. Indeed, Carlson's personal conduct at the network is one matter entirely, but the role he plays in the culture outgrew Fox News. Rupert Murdoch knew this. Not only did he know this, he was offended by this according to reports. His nature as an intellectual triggerman makes it so as he is not meant to be a team player, nor can he be, because intellectual triggermen must disrupt the flow of restricted ideas to open it up for others to have their perspectives heard, for other perspectives to be heard. Team players cannot break the mode. Team players are expected to maintain the status quo. Carlson went against that. And he went against it in a way, whether you agree or not, is quite profound and is a way for us to learn how exactly these kind of people help society grow. Whether it be Galileo Galilei, whether it be Socrates, whether it be anyone who was persecuted or attacked for going against what the society and the majority, the will of the people, so-called, this sort of utilitarian hell, thought was true at a particular time. All of those people served an immense service to society. Am I saying that Tucker Carlson is Galileo? Of course, no, I'm not. What I'm saying is the kind of role he fills is one that we've seen throughout human society. And it is one the power structure does not like. Hence, he was a threat to that power structure. And hence, regardless of whatever specious reason they may give for his termination, that, more than anything else, riled the corporate press, the management, corporate management, to get rid of Carlson. Now, we should understand this, my friends. Corporate press is a very toxic environment for anyone who seeks to be a triggerman because of what they do. With the reports came out that Carlson's employer actually had blackmail files on him, which they kept for a rainy day. Now, it's very odd. Why would one of the most influential media companies that is built on dispensing information and giving the truth want to have a blackmail file on one of their top employees. That is not only unheard of and uncommon, it is rather immoral, and it is suspicious, and it gives the power structure, those in power, the ability to affect the opinions of their employees in a surreptitious way, in an illicit way that may compromise the integrity of their voice. But once again, Carlson's integrity, the integrity of his voice, was never truly compromised by such attempts, I believe, because of the information he brought forth on almost a daily basis. Americans in general should always be skeptical of the media, whether it be a media like me, independent media, or the corporate press, and never take one person's opinion as gospel truth. But they should also be willing to entertain other ideas, a diverse set of ideas, because society and the truth and the pursuit of truth requires a diverse set of ideas in order to be able to be achieved. You have a poor standard of knowledge if your ideas are governed by words like disinformation and misinformation and not governed on the merits of the substance of what they present. You have a very poor standard of knowledge, which allows bad actors to control the conversation and conceal the truth. Some people's standard of knowledge is more so based on how something looks as opposed to how something is. The fact that the Ukraine leak happened upset people and made people like Nikki Haley, a presidential candidate, say, "Oh my gosh, a leak happened, heads must roll." But the substance of the leak, which prove that there are boots on the ground, of American boots on the ground in Ukraine, and also prove the interior of the Pentagon to have a zero confidence the conflict was going to end, despite what they telegraphed in public, and also proved that there was an active effort from the American government to intervene in any peace talk. Despite all these revelations, some people cared more about the aesthetic of a leak happening as opposed to the actual leak. Well, some people care more about Carlson being fired for saying rude things or mean things, the aesthetic they're pointing out, as opposed to the substance of what they have done to him, such as creating a blackmail file on him. Once again, when you live in a society where information is restricted and certain ideas are given more weight than others by power players, people oftentimes conform to those artificially inflated ideas. The intellectual triggermen of our age, they can help us come out of that, not by being divine heroes on a quixotic quest to fight everybody. No. They can help us come out of that by reminding us that human beings have the faculty of reason. And that faculty is the most valuable thing to us because it helped us build society. It helped us deduce truth from falsehood, as John Stuart Mill would say. And it helps us every day continue to improve our lives, improve the human condition in a way that allows us to flourish and live morally. Once again, be skeptical of all media. Be skeptical of all people. Do not worship Tucker Carlson. Do not worship me. Do not worship anyone you like or anyone you listen to. But instead seek the truth. And let those who are in an age of conformity, mediocrity, and epistemically unsound ideas are speaking things that do not conform, that are heterodox, and may very well be valuable, open your ears to them, listen to them, and make your best judgment. Because not only will you be better for it, but the attempt for bad actors to control our society and our political discourse will be undermined, and more people will understand what certain things actually mean. And that is priceless. My friends, love you guys so much. If you love me, like this video, comment on this video, share this video, subscribe to this channel. Be sure to help us get our message out here. I love you guys so much, and please stay pensive. Bye, guys.